So this is a game for Warhammer that I played last weekend, and I'll let you know right up front that this is my first battle report with narration, so I apologize in advance if I have any flubs or if I'm not real smooth. This was against my brother-in-law and his Warriors of Chaos army, and I will tell you right up front that neither one of us have a lot of extra money to spend on models, so there's a lot of proxying going on. I'll try to point that out as best as I can as we go through this. This was the 2250 point level, and this is my opponent's army from my point of view. On the far left, you'll see there's, I think it's 6 Chaos Knights, might be 7. Right next to it is a Juggernaut Rider who has the Mark of Khorne. The Juggernaut Rider is not attached to the unit, it's just very close by. The next thing you'll see looks like a High Elf Chariot, but it is actually the War Shrine. Next to that is something that looks like the old Greater Demon of Tzeentch model, but it's actually a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. Next is that lone character. That is a level 4 wizard. That's the general. Took the lore of Tzeentch, and he is on a flying disc, so he can fly 20 inches. Next to that is a big block of 14 Chaos Chosen. You'll see that same Chosen again. The next unit there in the front row is a level 2 sorcerer who has the fire spells. Next to him, it looks like a bunch of orcs. Nope, those aren't orcs. Those are just plain old regular Chaos Warriors with the Mark of Nurgle. Behind them are 5 little Warhounds. Next, you'll see some Knights that look like old school Chaos Knights. Those are playing the part of Marauder Horsemen. Got a little stream there. And then another set of Marauder Horsemen. Their riders are in the workshop right now getting made. Alright, my point of view, and this is from my opponent's left to his right, my right to my left. That first block there is 5 questing knights. Now I know questing knights don't have lances, but just bear with me. I am getting some built, just haven't accomplished it quite yet. So that's what the gray guys will be. In that unit there's with Sword of Might, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 other things that I can't think of right now. Next over is the group of 3 Pegasus Knights. I'm not putting much on this side of the board because I don't find this side to be all that threatening. I want to face most of the threats on the other side of the board. Those Pegasus Knights will have their wings added with sticky tack in just a few moments. I just got them in the mail the day before we played this, so they hadn't been fully built yet. You'll notice the guys don't have arms. Those little Battlemaster cards is a small lake or marsh. It was a marsh. You can go across it, but it's rough terrain. Next you'll see I have 5 Knights of the Realm. No command group there, just a musician. And next to them is a level 1 damsel. Kind of looks like an Empire Wizard. It's not. This game had a group of dwarfs in it. For some reason, I just decided it'd be fun to have some dwarf allies. Got my opponent's permission to do that. Those are dwarf warrior rangers with throwing axes. No standard, but they do have musician and champion. In this particular game, we generated terrain randomly, and there was no place to deploy them with the scout special rule. I could have maybe put them in that building, that 2-story tower on your far right, but I didn't think of it at the time, quite frankly. That little thing that looks like 3 Bretonnian bowman stakes, we're just counting that as a fence. Behind that, there's 14 skirmishing bowmen. Next to them, yeomen. Directly behind the 5 yeomen is the Grail Relic with a few proxies. Next to that, the yellow horses with riders. Those are Knights Errant, full command. And next to them is a group of 7 Grail Knights. Front and middle of the Grail Knights is my Lord, who is just your standard Bretonnian Lord with a few nice combos. And right behind him, there's a level 1 damsel again. Okay, so the Bretonnians prayed, and the Chaos Warriors took turn number 1. So with that in mind, you can see they're basically just creeping up a little bit. Nothing real aggressive or exciting here. Yeah, not a lot to explain there. I'm kind of wondering with the Chaos Knights what he had in mind, because it looks like I'm going to be able to combine charge them, but more on that later. Other side of the board, basically, again, just more creeping up. Nothing real substantial there. The only real substantial thing was, in his turn, he did get a magic spell off that took 1 wound off one of my Pegasus Knights. On my turn, I'm basically moving my Grail Knights and my Knights Errant up close enough that I can charge the Chaos Knights, but he cannot charge me. That's the thought process, at least. By the way, I forgot to mention that I do have my BSB in the unit with the yellow-colored Knights Errant. I put my mounted yeoman in front of the little fence there, and the archers got right behind it, the skirmishing bowmen. I don't know what I was thinking there. I think my thought process was if the Shaggoth charged me, I'd just flee. I forgot that that would make the bowman take a panic test. I forgot that his general can fly. I really don't know what I was thinking there. I just totally messed it up. On the other side of the board, my dwarfs are creeping up. Their job is just kind of occupy the Chosen for the rest of the game, if at all possible. I don't care if I lose them. I just don't want the Chosen going after anything else. So they're kind of saying, come and get us, here we are. Didn't do anything hardly with the Knights of the Realm. I did charge the Pegasus Knight of Marauder Horsemen. My thought process is, I should be able to take them. I forgot to take a picture of that earlier, so this is after combat's already started. There's a little red die over next to the other Marauder Horsemen. That's just an indication that my damsel did get Mistress of the Marsh off on them, so they're slowed to half move until the end of their next turn. Questing Knights are willing to charge them if needed because they have the Twilight Banner, so if they get stuck behind the water, they can just activate that banner and move across the water with no penalty. So here's the picture of the battle with the Pegasus Knights and the Marauder Horsemen. Totally fluffed it. Rubber lances. I had 1 wound go through from the Pegasus Knights, 0 from the Pegasi themselves. I think I only got 1 hit with the Pegasi, and it didn't even wound. So, and he did a wound back on me, too, as if that wasn't bad enough. So now, with the 1 wound he did, plus the magic spell earlier, I'm down a Pegasus. Can't even claim table quarters with him. We each do a wound. He outnumbers. I lose. Fortunately, at least I didn't flee. On my turn, or I'm sorry, on his next turn, so this would be Chaos Warrior's turn 2. Yeah, that shows the foolishness of my move with the yeoman. I get charged by both the Shaggoth and the general. Flee right through the bowmen. The bowmen fail their panic test and run off the board. The yeomen run, but not quite far enough, and poof, there goes a whole bunch of peasants. I mean, they are just peasants, but man, that was poorly played on my part. I'll totally admit that. You can see his knights are creeping up, but again, I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do, because I'm pretty sure I can take them. But we'll find out. His Juggernaut Rider, now keep in mind, that guy's frenzied, so he's going to have to charge someone on his next turn. Unless, well, there's something else, but that doesn't come into play until later. Everything else creeping up again in support. The other side of the board, like I said, just general creeping up. He didn't move his Marauder Horseman on the far right at all. That kind of surprised me a little bit. This time in combat with the Horsemen, my Pegasus Knights do finally do their job. Taken down to 1 wound. They did overrun that guy. I just didn't take a picture of it. So on my turn, I do get this nice, sweet combo charge off. The Grail Knights and the Knights Errant going against the Chaos Knights. They cause fear, but doesn't apply in those 2 situations. My Grail Relic is basically just shuffling over to bait the Juggernaut. I want him to charge me. I want that Juggernaut to get locked in with the Grail Relic, stay there for the rest of the game. If he wipes him out, I don't care. I hope they just last a few turns because they are stubborn. My only hope is, as long as my Knights Errant, the Grail Knights, can defeat those Chaos Knights and overrun far enough to get out of that guy's charge arc. You'll see the Chosen are creeping up, heading towards my dwarfs. I'm fine with that. I meant my dwarfs creeped up towards the Chosen, is what I meant to say. There's just a close-up picture of the battle.